Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American action-adventure film from 2024, titled Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. In 1974, a meteorite carrying Shadow the Hedgehog crashes in Oklahoma and is quickly seized by the Guardian Units of Nations GUN, a global military organization. Recognizing Shadow's incredible power, GUN assigns their top scientist, Gerald Robotnik, to study him, and Gerald conducts numerous experiments, concluding that Shadow is both too powerful and too dangerous to roam freely. To keep him contained, Shadow is locked in a glass chamber at the GUN facility, and one day, Gerald's granddaughter, Maria, discovers Shadow inside the chamber. Despite his confinement, the two form a strong bond, spending their days exploring the facility, playing and watching movies together. One afternoon, Maria brings Shadow to the top of the facility, where Shadow admits he doesn't know where he came from, and Maria reassures him that this facility is his home now. Tragedy strikes one night when Gerald, Maria, and Shadow attempt to escape the facility to protect Shadow from being weaponized by GUN. During their escape, a GUN agent accidentally fires at an explosive, and the blast kills Maria, leaving Gerald devastated. Shadow is recaptured and Gerald is imprisoned, and unable to destroy Shadow due to his immense value but fearful of the danger he poses, GUN place him in permanent stasis. 50 years later, off the coast of Japan, Shadow remains sealed in his glass chamber within a high-security GUN prison facility. Suddenly, the facility's security systems are mysteriously hacked, and at the same time, Shadow begins to awake, haunted by fragmented memories of Maria. Realizing Shadow is waking up, GUN military surround the chamber with weapons. However, it's too late. Shadow punches through the glass chamber with incredible force. Using his teleportation abilities, he easily overpowers the military, and Shadow defeats everyone in his path and escapes the facility. In Green Hills, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles prepare for a friendly race to see who is the fastest. As the race begins, Sonic notices Knuckles and Tails pulling ahead, and determined to win, he increases his speed and takes the race more seriously. However, when Sonic reaches the finish line, he is shocked to find Knuckles and Tails already waiting for him, and suspicious, Sonic quickly realizes they are just holograms. Racing back to camp, Sonic discovers the real Knuckles and Tails throwing a surprise celebration for the anniversary of Sonic's arrival on Earth. They're joined by their adoptive parents, Tom and Maddie, enjoying the festive moment together. Meanwhile in Tokyo, Shadow is seen wandering the bustling city, and he realizes he was held captive for 15 years. Just then, GUN soldiers track him down, and filled with rage, Shadow prepares to defend himself. Back in Green Hills, the celebration is interrupted by the arrival of Director Rockwell from GUN. She explains the situation in Tokyo, detailing the destruction caused by Shadow, and Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles agree to help stop Shadow and save the city. The trio is taken to Tokyo in a helicopter, and upon their arrival, they witness a massive explosion and quickly jump from the helicopter. They make a safe landing, and suddenly, a large vehicle is hurled toward them, but Knuckles steps forward and catches it just in time. The trio encounter Shadow, and Sonic tries to reason with Shadow, telling him they aren't here to fight, and pleads with him to stop the destruction. However, Knuckles, who is impatient and eager to test his strength, charges at Shadow, but Shadow easily defeats him. One by one, Shadow overwhelms Tails and Sonic as well, effortlessly defeating the entire team, and afterward, he speeds away on his motorcycle. Determined to stop him, Sonic chases after Shadow, and the pursuit leads to an intense battle between the two, both unleashing their powers. The clash generates a massive shockwave that plunges the city into darkness, and despite Sonic's best efforts, Shadow immobilizes him with handcuffs before driving off. Moments later, Tails and Knuckles catch up and free Sonic from his restraints, and the trio retreats to the city's Chow Garden to regroup and discuss their encounter. There, they are joined by Commander Walters, who reveals Shadow's tragic backstory, his creation, imprisonment, and connection to Maria Robotnik, and suddenly, the Chow Garden is ambushed. Dozens of drones surround the area, firing missiles at Sonic and his team. However, when all seems lost, a mysterious motorcyclist bursts into the garden. Using a high-tech device, the motorcyclist disables the drones and speeds off, leaving the hedgehogs shocked. Severely injured during the attack, Commander Walters hands Sonic a digital keycard to a powerful gun weapon, and before dying, he warns Sonic to keep it safe. Shortly, Director Rockwell and a team of gun soldiers arrive at the scene. Seeing Walters' body and noticing the keycard in Sonic's possession, Rockwell assumes the trio killed Walters and stole the key. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles manage to track down the mysterious motorcyclist, who is revealed to be Agent Stone. He explains that Dr. Robotnik is still alive but had no involvement in the drones attacking them. Stone then activates a massive robot submerged in a nearby body of water and uses it to transport the hedgehogs to Robotnik's hidden base. When the group meets Dr. Robotnik, Stone updates him on the hacked drones, and using his advanced systems, Robotnik traced the hackers' location to an abandoned gun facility. Realizing they are after the same person, the hedgehogs and Robotnik begrudgingly agree to work together, forming a fragile alliance. Meanwhile, Shadow goes to a deserted gun base, and in the ruins of the facility where he was once held captive, Shadow finds one of Maria's old sketch boots. Overwhelmed with memories, he recalls their time together and the tragic events that led to her death, and just then, Shadow is interrupted by the sudden appearance of Gerald Robotnik, who has been hiding all these years. Consumed with hatred for Gun, Gerald reveals his intent to unleash a devastating plan against humanity to avenge Maria, and Shadow agrees to help him. Meanwhile, Team Sonic and Team Robotnik arrives at the abandoned gun facility, and Shadow and Gerald become aware of their presence. As they explore the facility, the group comes to a crossroads with 3 tunnels. They decide to split up. Tails and Agent Stone take one tunnel, Knuckles takes another, and Sonic teams up with Robotnik for the third. However, as they navigate the facility, Shadow methodically ambush and capture them one by one. Robotnik ventures deeper into the tunnel and stumbles upon his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik. He reveals he has been held captive in the gun facility for the last 50 years, and he uses his drones to bring him down here. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails awaken to find themselves tied up in the facility, and standing before them are Gerald and Dr. Robotnik, with Shadow by their side. Shadow retrieves the digital keycard from Sonic and hands it to Gerald. Gerald reveals that the card is only half of the puzzle. 2 keycards are required to activate the Eclipse Cannon, a massive orbital laser capable of obliterating any location on Earth. Gerald's plan is to destroy Gun's headquarters, erasing the organization he blames for Maria's death, and Robotnik wholeheartedly agrees to help, turning against Sonic and his team. Gerald, Robotnik, and Agent Stone leave the base in a colossal robot, and Shadow activates a mini black hole device designed to destroy the facility and everyone in it. The device begins sucking everything into its void, and just as the hedgehogs are about to be swallowed, Sonic grabs a glowing ring from Tails' bag and throws it. The ring creates a portal which pulls them to safety moments before the entire military base is consumed by the black hole. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles use another ring portal to escape to Green Hills, where they meet Tom and Maddie. After explaining Gerald Robotnik's plan to use the Eclipse Cannon to destroy Gun's headquarters, the group devise a plan. Tom and Maddie are recruited to infiltrate Gun HQ and steal the second keycard while planting a USB drive that will give Tails full access to the facility's systems. Maddie suggests using the Master Emerald so Sonic can transform into his super form and end the situation easily. However, Sonic and the others are hesitant, knowing the risks of relying on such immense power. Instead, the team sticks to their original plan. The group drives to London where Gun's headquarters is located, and the hedgehogs position themselves outside for backup. Tom and Maddie disguise themselves as Maddie's sister Rachel, and her husband Randall, using a holographic device, and their disguise allows them to pass the security and gain access to the building. Once inside, they head to the server room and successfully plant the USB drive. However, they stumble upon another USB drive already connected to the system. Meanwhile, Tails tracks an unusual signal nearby, discovering Shadow and Agent Stone inside the colossal robot in the sewers beneath the city. Using a system override, Tails flushes the duo out with a surge of water. Unbeknownst to the others, Dr. Robotnik and Gerald are already inside the HQ, and using high-tech, laser-proof stealth suits, the pair navigates the laser-filled corridor leading to the second keycard with ease. Tails detects their fast progress toward the keycard and alerts Sonic, and growing impatient, Sonic decides to speed into the HQ to stop them. However, he nearly gets killed by the building's security shield, which activate in response to his unauthorized entry, and Tails quickly intervene, allowing Sonic to pass through safely. Sonic catches up to Dr. Robotnik and Gerald, but before they can reach the second keycard, they activate a gravity device that pins them to the ground. Sonic tries to reach the keycard but is also pulled into the gravity's grip, and just then, Director Rockwell arrives with a squad of GUN soldiers, bringing Tails, Tom, and Maddie as captives. Rockwell reveals that she already knew they will come for the second key after the first one was taken from Commander Walters, and with no way out, Knuckles makes an explosive entrance, smashing through the wall. Knuckles tries to deactivate gravity device but ended up smashing it, and the destruction of the device causes the gravity field to fluctuate wildly, turning the room into a chaotic mess. The building debris begin to fall, including an iron rod heading straight for Tom and Maddie, who are still trapped. At the same time, Dr. Robotnik and Rockwell desperately lunge for the keycard, each intent on claiming it for their own plans. Just before the iron rod can hit Tom and Maddie, Sonic breaks free from the gravity field with a burst of speed, and scatters the falling debris, saving his friends and freeing everyone from the fluctuating gravity.
She's got the key.
Disguised as Commander Walters, Tom goes after Rockwell and retrieves the second keycard. However, Shadow soon arrives and, mistaking Tom for the real Walters, launches a ruthless attack, and he takes the keycard. However, Shadow soon realizes his mistake and he teleports away just as Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Maddie arrive at the scene. Shadow returns the second keycard to Gerald, and together with Dr. Robotnik, they teleport to the Eclipse Cannon, a massive weapon concealed within a hidden gun orbital facility. Gerald unveils specially designed suits for himself and Robotnik to facilitate the weapon's operation. During their preparations, Agent Stone urgently contacts Robotnik to warn him about Shadow's suspicions regarding Gerald's true motives, but Robotnik dismisses Stone's concerns. In full possession of both keycards, Gerald activates the Eclipse Cannon to the amazement of everyone, and the massive weapon detaches from the facility and begins its ascent into space. Meanwhile, the injured Tom is rushed to the hospital, and enraged that Shadow nearly killed Tom, Sonic demands to use the Master Emerald, knowing it would grant him the power to stop Shadow and Gerald. Aware of the dangerous consequences, Knuckles refused to reveal the Emerald's location, and the two nearly clash. Knowing that Sonic's determination cannot be swayed, Knuckles reluctantly tells him the Emerald's location. Sonic abandons the team to retrieve the Emerald from a trusted ally of Tom, and Sonic absorbs its energy, undergoing a powerful transformation into Super Sonic. Meanwhile, in outer space, Gerald fuels Shadow's rage by vividly reminding him of Maria's tragic death. Overwhelmed by anger and grief, Shadow channels an immense amount of chaos energy into the Eclipse Cannon, preparing to fire it directly at Earth to annihilate humanity. Gerald reveals to Robotnik that his true intention is not just to destroy GUN but to obliterate the entire Earth as revenge for Maria's death. Robotnik is stunned, as his ambition has always been to conquer Earth, not destroy it, and despite his usual cunning nature, he realizes Gerald's obsession with vengeance is beyond reason. Gerald activates the Eclipse Cannon, setting a 10-minute countdown for the weapon to fire its devastating blast, and just then, Super Sonic arrives at the cannon and confronts Shadow. Their fierce battle leads them to a desolate planet, where Shadow uses his brute strength to knock the Master Emerald energy from Sonic, and absorbs fragments of the Emerald, transforming into Super Shadow. The two supercharged hedgehogs clash with unparalleled ferocity, trading blows that create massive shockwaves. Shadow overpowers Sonic, and cruelly taunts him, reminding him of how his anger led him to abandon his team and Tom in their time of need. Shadow's words ignite a fiery determination in Sonic, who channels his grief into raw strength, delivering a final punch that defeats Shadow. Standing over the fallen Shadow, Sonic prepares to end the fight but stop when he remembers Tom's wisdom about the destructive nature of vengeance and steps back. Sharing his pain over the loss of Longclaw, Sonic speaks of how love and not revenge honors those they've lost. These heartfelt words resonate with Shadow, who realizes how deeply he has been misled by his grief, and he makes peace with Sonic and agrees to help him stop the Eclipse cannon. Meanwhile, Dr. Robotnik and Gerald engaged in a battle, using various weapons from their advanced battle suits. However, Gerald got the upper hand in the battle. Noticing Shadow has teamed up with Sonic, Gerald releases an army of fighter robots to defeat the hedgehogs. However, Sonic and Shadow effortlessly dispatch the mechanical threats, showcasing their incredible strength and coordination. Gerald turns his attention back to Robotnik, who is teetering on the edge of defeat, and Gerald pushes Robotnik off the Eclipse cannon. Just when it seems like Robotnik is lost, Tails and Knuckles come to his rescue and Robotnik knocks Gerald into the chaos energy, which ultimately leads to his demise. With the Eclipse cannon now fully charged, it begins unleashing its laser aimed directly at Earth. However, Sonic and Shadow rush towards the cannon to stop the laser. While they can't shut down the cannon, Robotnik, Knuckles, and Tails work together to deflect the laser blast, sending it away from the Earth and it destroy the Moon instead. Sonic's super form fades as a result of the intense energy from the laser, causing him to lose consciousness, and Tails immediately goes after him, trying to rescue his friend. With the Eclipse cannon still malfunctioning and its core beginning to melt down, the radiation threat from the cannon now poses a risk to everyone on Earth, and as the situation worsens, Shadow and Robotnik team up once again in a desperate attempt to move the cannon out of Earth's trajectory. While trying to save Sonic, Tails also loses consciousness, but Knuckles arrives just in time and uses the ring portal to transport them to safety. However, Shadow and Robotnik remain behind, knowing the only way to stop the cannon is to move it away from Earth, and as the cannon nears its critical point, Robotnik broadcasts a final message. On the live stream, he apologizes to Agent Stone, confessing that his harsh treatment of him had been wrong. He admits that Agent Stone had always been the only person who truly cared for him. Shadow has a quiet flashback of Maria, remembering their shared moments before her tragic death. Both Robotnik and Shadow push the Eclipse cannon away from Earth, just as the cannon explodes, sending a devastating shockwave out into the void of space. Back on Earth, having realized the mistakes he made earlier in abandoning his friends, Sonic apologizes to Tails and Knuckles for not trusting them when they needed him most, and the trio shares an emotional moment. Meanwhile, Agent Stone stands before the remnants of the Eclipse cannon, saying his farewell to Dr. Robotnik before walking away. The movie shifts to a peaceful scene, where Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Maddie are camping with Tom, who has recovered from his injuries, and the film ends with Sonic, Knuckles and Tails racing again. After the credits scene, Sonic is attacked by a group of metal Sonic robots, but he is saved by a female pink hedgehog, Amy Rose. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Sonic the Hedgehog 3 from 2024. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.